List of XML and HTML character entity references.
In SGML, HTML and XML documents, the logical constructs known as character data and attribute values consist of sequences of characters, in which each character can manifest directly, or can be represented by a series of characters called a character reference, of which there are two types, a numeric character reference and a character entity reference. This article lists the character entity references that are valid in HTML and XML documents. Although in popular usage character references are often called entity references, or even entities, this usage is wrong. A character reference is a reference to a character, not to an entity. Entity reference refers to the content of a named entity. An entity declaration is created by using the less than entity name value greater than syntax in a document type definition, DTD, or XML schema. Then, the name defined in the entity declaration is subsequently used in the XML. When used in the XML, it is called an entity reference.
Character reference overview.
A numeric character reference refers to a character by its universal character set Unicode code point, and uses the format where NNNN is the code point in decimal form, and HHHH is the code point in hexadecimal form. The X must be lowercase in XML documents. The NNNN or HHHH may be any number of digits and may include leading zeros. The HHHH may mix uppercase and lowercase, though uppercase is the usual style. In contrast, a character entity reference refers to a character by the name of an entity which is the desired character as its replacement text. The entity must either be predefined, built into the markup language, or explicitly declared in a document type definition, DTD. The format is the same as for any entity reference. Where name is the case-sensitive name of the entity, the semicolon is required.
Standard public entity sets for characters.
ISO entity sets, SGML supplied a comprehensive set of entity declarations for characters widely used in Western technical and reference publishing, for Latin, Greek and Cyrillic scripts. The American Mathematical Society also contributed entities for mathematical characters. HTML entity sets. Early versions of HTML built in small subsets of these, relating to characters found in 3 Western 8-bit fonts. MathML entity sets. The W3C developed a set of entity declarations for MathML characters. XML entity sets. The W3C MathML working group took over maintenance of the ISO public entity sets, combined with the MathML and documents them in XML entity definitions for characters. This set can support the requirements of XHTML, MathML and is an input to future versions of HTML. HTML5 HTML5 adopts the XML entities as named character references, however it restates them without reference to their sources and does not group them into sets. The HTML5 specification additionally provides mappings from the names to Unicode character sequences using JSON. Numerous other entity sets have been developed for special requirements, and for major and minority scripts. However, the advent of Unicode has largely superseded them.
Predefined entities in XML.
The XML specification does not use the term character entity, or character entity reference. The XML specification defines 5 predefined entities representing special characters, and requires that all XML processes honor them. The entities can be explicitly declared in a DTD, as well, but if this is done, the replacement text must be the same as the built-in definitions. XML also allows other named entities of any size to be defined on a per-document basis. The table below lists the 5 XML predefined entities. The name column mentions the entity's name. The character column shows the character. To render the character, the format and name is used. For example, and AMP renders as AND. The Unicode code point column cites the character via standard UCS Unicode U+ notation, which showed the character's code point in hexadecimal. The decimal equivalent of the code point is then shown in parentheses. The standard column indicates the first version of XML that includes the entity. The description column cites the character via its canonical UCS Unicode name, in English.
Character entity references in HTML.
The HTML4 DTDs define 252 named entities, references to which act as mnemonic aliases for certain Unicode characters. The HTML4 specification requires the use of the standard DTDs and does not allow users to define additional entities. In the table below, the standard column indicates the first version of the HTML DTD that defines the character entity reference. HTML 4.01 does not provide any new character references. To use one of these character entity references in an HTML or XML document, enter an ampersand followed by the entity name and a semicolon, for example, and amp. Notes. DTD, the full public DTD name, where the character entity name is defined, is actually mapped from one of the following three defined named entities. HTML LAT1 maps to public W3C entities Latin 1 en HTML in HTML, the DTD is implicitly defined, no system URI is needed. Public W3C entities Latin 1 for XHTML and http://www.w3.org/ tier/ XHTML1/ DTD/ XHTML-lat1.ent in XHTML 1.0. HTML SYMBOL maps to public W3C entities symbols en HTML in HTML, the DTD is implicitly defined, no system URI is needed. Public W3C entities symbols for XHTML and http://www.w3.org/ tier/ XHTML1/ DTD/ XHTML-symbol.ent in XHTML 1.0. HTML SPECIAL maps to public W3C entities specially en HTML in HTML, the DTD is implicitly defined, no system URI is needed. Public W3C entities special for XHTML and http://www.w3.org/ tier/ XHTML1/ DTD/ XHTML-special.ent in XHTML 1.0, HTML LAT1 maps to public W3C entities Latin 1 en HTML in HTML, the DTD is implicitly defined, no system URI is needed. Public W3C entities Latin 1 for XHTML and http://www.w3.org/ tier/ XHTML1/ DTD/ XHTML-lat1.ent in XHTML 1.0, public W3C entities Latin 1 en HTML in HTML, the DTD is implicitly defined, no system URI is needed. Public W3C entities Latin 1 for XHTML and http://www.w3.org/ tier/ XHTML1/ DTD/ XHTML-lat1.ent in XHTML 1.0, HTML SYMBOL maps to public W3C entities symbols en HTML in HTML, the DTD is implicitly defined, no system URI is needed. Public W3C entities symbols for XHTML and http://www.w3.org/ tier/ XHTML1/ DTD/ XHTML-symbol.ent in XHTML 1.0, public W3C entities symbols en HTML in HTML, the DTD is implicitly defined, no system URI is needed. Public W3C entities symbols for XHTML and http://www.w3.org/ tier/ XHTML1/ DTD/ XHTML-symbol.ent in XHTML 1.0, HTML SPECIAL maps to public W3C entities special en HTML in HTML, the DTD is implicitly defined, no system URI is needed. Public W3C entities special for XHTML and http://www.w3.org/ tier/ XHTML1/ DTD/ XHTML-special.ent in XHTML 1.0, public W3C entities special en HTML in HTML, the DTD is implicitly defined, no system URI is needed. Public W3C entities special for XHTML and http://www.w3.org/ tier/ XHTML1/ DTD/ XHTML-special.ent in XHTML 1.0, old ISO subset, these are old, documented, character subsets used in legacy encodings before the unification within ISO 10646. Description: the standard ISO 10646 and Unicode character name is displayed first for each character, with non-standard but legacy synonyms shown in italics between parentheses after an equal sign. ABCD spaces, a blue background is used to display each space's width. AB ligature, this is a standard misnomer as this is a separate character in some languages. ABCDE black, here it seems to mean filled as opposed to hollow. ABISO proposed. These characters have been standardized in ISO 10646 after the release of HTML 4.0. Aleph sim, ALF symbol is not the same as U+05DO Hebrew letter ALF, although the same glyph could be used to depict both characters. LAR, ISO 10646 does not say that leftwards double arrow is the same as the is implied by arrow, but also does not have any other character for that function. So LAR can be used for as implied by as ISO suggests. RAR, ISO 10646 does not say that rightwards double arrow is the implies character but does not have another character with this function, so RAR can be used for implies as ISO suggests. Prod, NA product is not the same character as U+03AO Greek capital letter pi though the same glyph might be used for both. Sum. ANA summation is not the same character as U+03A3 Greek capital letter sigma though the same glyph might be used for both. Sim, tilde operator is not the same character as U+007E tilde, although the same glyph might be used to represent both. Sup, note that NSUP, U+2283 not a superset of, is not covered by the symbol font encoding and is not included. Should it be, for symmetry? It is in the ISOMSN subset, PUP. Unicode only defines U+22A5 as the uptack. The Unicode symbol for perpendicular is U+27C2. The two symbols look similar, but are separate in Unicode. However, HTML uses U+22A5 as its perpendicular symbol. This is a discrepancy between HTML and Unicode. As well, the U+22A4 character, the downtack symbol, rendered in a browser such as Firefox 3.6 can match the font of either uptack, or perpendicular, but not both, depending on whether a fixed width or a proportional font is used. When viewed in Firefox 3.6, the symbols rendered in the order U+22A5, U+22A4, U+27C2 in a proportional font, and a fixed width one, shows that the downtack has a similar look to U+22A5, HTML's perpendicular in the first case but matches U+27C2 in the second. This exemplifies the difficulties of the semiotics involved in interpreting glyphs, symbols and characters generally. SDOT, dot operator is not the same character as U plus OOB7 middle dot. Lang, left pointing angle bracket is not the same character as U plus OO3C less than, U plus 2039 single left pointing angle quotation mark, U plus 2329 left pointing angle bracket, U plus 27E8 mathematical left angle bracket, or U plus 3008 left angle bracket, though the same glyph may be used for all of them. Rang, right pointing angle bracket is not the same character as U plus 003E greater than, U plus 203A single right pointing angle quotation mark, U plus 232A right pointing angle bracket, U plus 27E9 mathematical right angle bracket, or U plus 3009 right angle bracket, though the same glyph may be used for all of them.
Entities representing special characters and the XHTML.
The XHTML DTDs explicitly declare 253 entities, including the 5 predefined entities of XML 1.0 whose expansion is a single character, which can therefore be informally referred to as character entities. These, with the exception of the and apos entity, have the same names and represent the same characters as the 252 character entities in HTML. Also, by virtue of being XML, XHTML documents may reference the predefined and apos entity, which is not one of the 252 character entities in HTML. Additional entities of any size may be defined on a per-document basis. However, the usability of entity references in XHTML is affected by how the document is being processed. If the document is read by a conforming HTML processor, then only the 252 HTML character entities can safely be used. The use of and apos or custom entity references may not be supported and may produce unpredictable results. If the document is read by an XML parser that does not or cannot read external entities, then only the 5 built-in XML character entities, see above, can safely be used, although other entities may be used if they are declared in the internal DTD subset. If the document is read by an XML parser that does read external entities, then the 5 built-in XML character entities can safely be used. The other 248 HTML character entities can be used as long as the XHTML DTD is accessible to the parser at the time the document is read. Other entities may also be used if they are declared in the internal DTD subset. Because of the special and apos case mentioned above, only and quote and AMP and LT and GT will work in all processing situations.